Kingdom. Not the 2014 version, but that is also a good series as well. For those interested in watching anything regarding boxers, I do want to warn you that it has strong sexual content, language, and extreme violence. But what we are talking about today is 2019's Korean drama series on Netflix called Kingdom. It was one of my favorites, if not the best zombie series I have ever watched. For all Walking Dead fans, please do not come for me. I hadn't watched The Walking Dead at that point, and even now that I have, yes, the Korean drama still beats out The Walking Dead even now after I have started watching the series. For me, I think it was wonderfully written, the cast was amazing, the storyline, the build-up, the pacing, the setting, and I feel like there was not enough exposure for how good this series was. It is like watching gold be dropped into the ocean. I don't even remember how I found out about the series, but I remember waiting so hard for season 2, getting season 2, and then realizing that a lot of people, while it is well rated, did not seem to even know that this show existed, or maybe I haven't seen them realize that this show exists. I'm going to heavily spoil a lot, but it's only because I want to share just the things that make this story so great and so functional for me that I have to. I'll see how much I can limit the spoiling. The story revolves around the crowned prince, a female doctor, the queen consort, her father, her brother, the prince's guard, and a tiger hunter. Of course, there are more characters in the story, but I don't want to say too much about those or give too much info on them, because while they're integral to the story, I think it reduces the amount of spoilers if I introduce as few of them as possible. So we'll only look at what I consider to be the big main idea and not spoil little stories here and there. The plot of the story starts with the prince, the crowned prince. He is the child of a concubine, so he is not seen as a legitimate heir since his father remarried and now has another child on the way by the queen consort. If she gave birth to that child, he would no longer have a hold on the throne. But not only that, he lost his protection. The birth of the child not only threatens his hold on the throne, it also threatens his life. Because it seems like in that era or that time, or because of animosity between him and his stepmother, if the child is born, there was a chance he would be killed so that the child could have no contenders during the ascension. And things get worse when the father falls ill and the prince is not allowed to see him. That is basically where we find the story, because the prince wants to know what is going on with his father. He believes that the queen consort's family are trying to make a play for the throne by force and are coming for his life. He goes to try and investigate his father's illness. All the books that were supposed to be kept by the physician that would adequately document the king's illness till the point of either death or recovery, none could be found. But what he did find showed him something that sent him down a path to go and find out what they were truly planning and what was really going on in the palace. Now this is what leads me to my favorite part of the story, the horror. I don't remember how I came across this story, what I typed into the internet. It was my days of typing what series is like X or what movie is like X so that I could find something that was within a genre that I would enjoy. I don't know what I typed, but what I do know is I did not read a synopsis, I did not read a genre, I did not watch a trailer. So imagine my shock to be watching Kingdom at 12 midnight only to be tormented by Asian contortionists. The zombies in this story made this entire series a horror movie from beginning to end. I could not sleep. Am I a wimp? Yes, but I've never claimed to be anything else. It was unsuspecting for me the first time they revealed the king. The prince walks and he hears this animalistic sound. He doesn't know who is at the other end, but he suspects it's his father, because obviously he can see a shadow and the person is dressed in complete gear. And it is not until further into the story that I finally understood what it was that he saw. Because when I first watched it, I thought to myself, he is possessed. there's a demon and they're trying to hide that the king has been possessed. But no, we're actually dealing with zombies. The build-up to the zombies was one of the things that made me love this show, because we are not only following the prince's perspective, we are following the perspective of other characters whose story also line up to make the clear picture. The prince is researching what happened to his father in the palace, and we also see the physician who has left the palace, the physician who has the notes about the king's condition. The reveal of the zombies occurs in the physician's clinic. The infection spreads because of the physician's trip to the palace. He brings the infection back with him in the form of a body. The body is consumed by the people in the clinic unknowingly, and the turn is not only immediate, it is vicious, and the contortionists did their job. The people in the clinic eat the infected flesh because they need food. The infection kills them first before they are turned into zombies. And one thing that really got me about this is, as soon as a bite appeared on your hand, 10-15 seconds, you were already shaking and convulsing on the floor, which meant that anybody could turn at any point. And if you had no clue that someone beside you had been bitten, they wouldn't even have the chance to hide it for days or minutes. They would change, they would bite you too, and it would spread some more. And boy, did it spread. The disease started from the palace, it spread to the clinic, and then continued to spread rapidly because of incompetence, disbelief of authority, cowardice, and just the general knowledge that nobody really knew what they were going up against. And that brings me to the setting, the different places we get to see while we are watching this drama. It was interesting to see how power and station played a role in the spread of this disease. Originally, that clinic was starving. The reason they had to eat the flesh was because the tiger hunter, who was also a patient at that clinic but decided to help around because he was one of the stronger ones, saw the body be delivered and had the idea that while they were all starving, this body could have rather saved them instead. So, without the knowledge of the nurses and due to the high levels of starvation and desperation in the clinic, he takes the body, he chops up the parts, and he makes a large pot of soup that he then proceeds to serve to the very grateful, very ravenous clinic patients who have no idea that they're not only eating human flesh, they're eating infected human flesh. And I say that the division because of power and station is truly what made this zombie apocalypse what it became. Just down the street, I don't know the word I'm going to use for this era, just down the street from the clinic, as they were dying of starvation, we see the magistrate having a party. There is rice, they are gouging on chicken and meat, they are drinking wine, they are celebrating, they are dancing, yet not too far away. But they couldn't find it in themselves to provide this food for people that needed it. They were there having celebrations and parties, yet the entire camp was starving. If they had not been starving, the body would have been buried. If the body would have been buried, this would never have occurred. And to even push it further, if it wasn't for the hunt and thirst for power, the king would also have been dead. I'm trying not to put a lot of spoilers, but I also wanted to see how their actions caused what became of this story. It started because somebody wanted to play power games with the throne and forced the king because, yes, the king was zombified. The growling voice the prince heard was his father prowling the halls for his next meal. He was zombified because they want the people to believe the king is still alive, at least until the legitimate son is born. As they're keeping him alive, the physician is forced to take care of him, and he brings an apprentice. The apprentice makes a mistake, gets bitten. His body gets taken back to the clinic, gets eaten. The entire clinic dies. The number has multiplied from 1 to 50, and those 50 are carried out of the clinic and taken to the magistrate because they believe they have witnessed a murder trying to be covered up, and they are lined up in this village of hundreds. Can anybody guess what happens from here on out? No need to think far. The entire village is decimated. And if you want to see more extent to the power play, the magistrate's men manage to get out of the village to find another place to hide. They close the gates. Others of lesser station than they are coming down this valley to look for shelter, but they close them outside. They get there before the zombies even get close, but no matter how they beg, no matter how they bang on the doors, no matter how they try to get in, they are pushed with sticks, they are shot with arrows, and they are forced to now become more victims for the zombies, increasing the number more than the living because they are left to their own devices. As we travel through the different settings, the different lifestyles, there is also something else that worked really well for the story. It's the characters. There was no useless character in my opinion. Even the people that were carrying messages were very important. I love when writers connect their stories. It happened in The Expanse. It happened in Stranger Things for a lot of the seasons, if not every. And it happened in Kingdom, where you make different storylines at different times and you just get, as a viewer, you just get to watch them all connect and form the perfect roadmap for you to understand what is going on. The Crowned Prince's search is what leads him to leave the palace and go to the clinic, because the physician's name was on the journal and he believes that since it's incomplete, the physician will be able to help him piece together the missing pages. While this is happening, the clinic has been overrun by the patients who have been turned into zombies, but something interesting happens that saves the female nurse and the tiger hunter, which is that when the sun comes up, the zombies find places to hide because they do not want to be touched by the sunlight. This is how the prince arrives at the clinic to find them and then is led to believe that this is a murder and should be reported to the magistrate in the village. So the bodies are pulled and taken, but he stays behind because he wants to find the journal. The nurse finds out he's taken the bodies and she runs to warn the magistrate. The tiger hunter, who is the cause of the spread in the clinic, also goes to warn the magistrate because he feels responsible for what has happened. He goes ahead to beg, but the magistrate doesn't listen to him and he barely listens to the nurse before all hell breaks loose. The prince is also still in the clinic, fighting his own battles, but somehow he escapes just in time to see the village where they have taken the bodies in flames. But we as the audience know why the village is in flames. The undead woke up while they were still arguing if they were corpses or not, ate the village up, and everybody scattered. That's just a little taste of what I mean by connecting storylines, just joining little pieces here and there. And it just goes on and on. Stories, settings, everything just keeps connecting and expanding, and it's just so well thought out that I do not still understand how it was ever allowed to go this long without a green light for season 3. Netflix, writers, directors, actors, whatever the reason may be why season 3 is not here, know that there is someone who is desperately waiting for it, in love with the story, and I have been watching it over and over again. If there is hope, please say so, because it hasn't officially been cancelled. Back on characters, the characters have different influences on how the story progresses. Some characters are helpful, spreading information. It never felt like info dumping, it was just progress to move the story ahead. And other characters were progress to move the virus ahead. The village magistrate was one of the biggest virus spreaders that existed because he was a coward to his soul. And I've already mentioned how the entire thing began because the Queen Consort's family just wants power. And just as I mentioned, how every character brings information to the table and it adds to the story, not feeling detached or cliched in how they deliver it. They're different characters and they don't know each other, but they can sometimes recognize things. The female physician was also an apprentice of the physician that was treating the king, so she knows his books and can translate. She can also translate how he understood the zombies, or what he thought he understood about the zombies. The prince and everyone else is unfamiliar with the tiger hunter. They do not know he's a tiger hunter, but they see him fight. And one of them mentions that the only people he has seen fight with such bravery and have such accuracy are tiger hunters because they have to be precise. So that easy movement of information made this series so enjoyable, and it leads to one of the best reveals I have seen in my life. Come at me. I'm going to give you a big spoiler warning. I want to say this so that you who haven't watched it would see what I mean. But if you think you have found it interesting up to this point and you want to see it, cut the video here. You can always come back. I also want you to come back. But if you don't want to hear this reveal, the final information in season 1 that blew this entire thing out my mind, you can stop. You can go watch Kingdom 2019, the series, not the movie, and then come back and share with me how you felt about the reveal. If you're someone that doesn't mind spoilers, let's continue. The prince, the tiger hunter, the female physician, the prince guard, and a few other people make it to a village where his master, who used to train him when he was young and used to come and visit him in the palace, lives. So they have to plan how to stop the infected from overtaking the village because they believe that the infected were heading that way. They spend all day digging holes, laying traps, preparing for the night, because all this time the infected hide during the day as they are affected by the sun, and so they come out only at night. So they used all day to prepare, getting their weapons, getting people interested in fighting, setting their traps, blocking the gate, barricading, waiting for the infected to come in the night. Night falls. Torches are lit. People are put on the water, mounted on the walls. Archers are set, the traps are laid, and the infected do not come. Back to storyline connecting. All this time, while they are setting the traps, the doctor is gone. Why? Because the prince got injured at some point, and she goes to hunt for herbs for him. And then she comes across information that relates to something she saw in the physician's book, something she believes she misunderstood when she was trying to look for a cure for the infection. And so she goes to hunt for what she believes is the truth. And boy, what does she find? She finds a flower. It is the flower that is said to have been the cause of the infection. But that is not all. As she stands there in this revelation, another one occurs. It is broad daylight. So while the prince and the village that is being protected is packing up their traps, dousing their fires, she hears the bells of an infected walking towards her in broad daylight. And that is when she understands something that she didn't understand before. The infected were never affected by the sun. They were affected by the heat the sun's rays produced. And all this time, the village was getting into the winter period. And winter meant that no matter how hot the sun was, they would be freezing cold. Cut to the prince. They have packed up, ready to go in for the day, and they just hear leaves rustling, feet pounding. The camera travels down trees and hay, and we see the infected running. They were finished. They had doused their fires, they had packed their traps, and here come the infected, gunning down this field. Because this series is so good, I could only bring myself to spoil season 1. There are 2 seasons, and I dare say season 2 is beautifully flawless. I refuse to spoil any of season 2 because I don't want to reveal any more information that I already have, and even more information about the tiger hunter, about the village the prince was trying to protect, the last village to stand, what happened to the magistrate, the doctor who was now trapped by a body of zombies that lived in the area. I don't want to reveal anything more. So if you are interested, and also because I'm hungry for a season 3, and I'm hoping that the more people that see this, watch it, talk about it, maybe can push Netflix to finally finish the story. I don't mind if I have to wait 3 more years. As long as it's greenlit, I'll wait. I've lost a lot of good series. It is a crime when a masterpiece is abandoned. I'm going to leave you on this. Thank you all for watching this video, and I would appreciate it if you could all not only show love to this video, but also go show love to the series. Watch it and come back and tell me what you think. I would love to hear all your thoughts. Thank you once again, and I will see you on the next one.